President Trump is threatening to send the National Guard to police the Windy City. Some in D.C. welcome the National Guard, said it made them feel safer. Many others said that the president was way out of line.
Yeah, some people welcomed it, but some people did not welcome the National Guard because a lot of the critics felt you can't send in the military to do a law enforcement job. They're not actually, frankly, trained in law enforcement. Just because they have a gun, although not all of them do, doesn't mean that they're good at law enforcement. They're good at going into battle. They're good at war. That's very different than what cities.
Then dealing with people on the street.
Dealing with people on the street in terms of law enforcement. I mean, it's a totally different skill set.
We've got political analyst Jim McQueeny, who's just joined us here at the table this morning. Thanks so much for being here, Jim. We really appreciate it. I know in Illinois, the governor is saying thanks, but no thanks, President Trump. We don't need this. Chicago officials are saying crime is actually down. Talk about the political implications of all this.
Well, one of the things is when they talk about bringing in the National Guard, they should bring in the National Guard to police the hypocrisy on this issue. I mean, honest to God, from all sides. There's as Mark Twain said, there's lies, damn lies, and statistics. And they're all being used now to fortify each side of this argument. It really is almost obscene to this point because people are getting killed. I mean, even the statistics for a second. Chicago, as you said, Jim, the numbers are down. They're down. Newark, just up the road from here, by the way, from this diner, 60% less murders over the last 10 years. However, there's still a lot of murders. One
is too many, obviously.
One is too many.
We all can agree on that.
Chicago, by the way, one statistic that shocked me was 35 guns a day are confiscated in Chicago. I mean, what does that tell you? You know, they're probably only getting the tip of the iceberg here, right? And I was a reporter for 20 years, covered cities, all that kind of stuff, right? And we cover local things as well. What Trump is doing right now is exactly what he said he was going to do, and 77 million people said they want him to do
that. Did he say that he would send in the National Guard to different democratically run cities? Did he say that on the campaign trail?
No, he said he was going to deal with crime. And crime was one of the biggest issues that was out there. And people, it was really a referendum on a lot of things. Crime was one of them. And so one of the things he's doing is what every average mayor would do. And you would see it all the time, right? When there was a heinous crime in a city, they would flood that area. Whether it was carjackings, suddenly it's flooded. Whether it was murders or heinous crimes, suddenly it's flooded. You know, I mentored in the city in Newark, right? And I got to be on top of a lot of the way people thought. And they, no matter what the media says, if they owned a home or they had children, they like to see the presence of police, the presence. But they always knew, like that political solution a mayor would do for the thing I just said, they go away after a while. And that was the thing that in the inner city, they were very afraid of.
Yes, but do you think, Jim, that there's a difference between the presence of police and the presence of the military? They look different.
They look different, but I think if I was a homeowner in the inner city and murders were occurring on my block, I don't give a damn what's on the side of the car patrolling my street.
What about the position that the Democrats in? I mean, obviously everybody wants a safer America, and the Democrats are saying we don't want to militarize our cities, so it kind of has them straddling that line between, of course we want safe cities, but we don't want the military in our cities.
I think it's very shaky ground for Democrats because, like it is on almost every issue with Trump, they're continually getting boxed out by Trump, perceptually and politically on this thing. So you find yourself with Democrats being against crime fighting. What do you say? Well, what do they say? They say the real thing that defeats crime in the cities is a lot of the anti-poverty programs, a lot of the Democratic programs over the last 20 years, if you will.
Right. They would say spend money on that. Don't do away with these grants that help the community of programs.
Jim, they say that, but you have to be patient for that to really work. It's worked in Newark, by the way, as one example. You have to be patient. The American people today don't have a lot of patience for this. And that's one of the problems. So when Democrats come with their solution to say, hey, let's do anti-poverty programs, let's do hiring programs, let's do education programs in the city, it takes money, i.e. extrapolated by critics as taxes, right? And again, you're in swampy ground once again. The patience that's really required to fix this isn't there anymore in America.
What about the delicate balance the police and the community, a lot of times it's been fraught with danger and animosity, but then over time, a relationship is built and things are going better between the police and the community. Now, all of a sudden, you have soldiers coming in, giant machine guns. That can throw that balance off kilter and potentially hurt crime fighting efforts on the ground.
Mark, it could, but if the police don't accommodate the help that they're getting right now and criticize it, they're as bad as the politicians. This is supplemental support. I don't like the idea of National Guardsmen and military jeeps and Humvees in the area, but when crime is that bad, and I go back to my mentorship time in the inner city, you want to see visibility of police.
But you say crime is that bad, but the statistics in Chicago, they say crime is actually down like 30%. Homicides are down like 30%. So,
as I said, in Newark, it's down 60%, but it's still an issue in Newark.
Yeah.
And it actually happens. And by the way, both Chicago and Newark, despite the decreases, are above the national average.
Yeah. And Jim, I think that one of the big questions for me is, I think this is interesting and we can debate statistics. I think one of the big questions is, does it work? And so did the sending in of the National Guard work? And we don't have much data, and it's hard to trust, frankly, President Trump, because as we know, he often distorts and exaggerates things. But did it work? And the data that we have is that it was already coming down, crime was already coming down, so it's hard to know if we can credit the National Guard, but some crime went up for the week that they were there in D.C. Some went down. So it costs a lot of money. Is it worth it? Does it work? And I don't know if we have the answer to that yet.
Yeah, well, it's not going to work. That's the short answer, because it's going to be so short, and they won't be there in 6 months. That's the short answer.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
All right. Tell us what